What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Plastic Heart Podcast. I am your host. He is your host, Fonzarello.
Who are you giving?
Followed by his co-host and small hand extraordinaire. He'll never slap you the way the Pope does. Is this a thing? Is this a thing?
Yeah. I haven't seen the video of the Pope slapping ladies.
That's
It's
just
not
a
as bad as
band
it's-
name. That's
no.
Pope slapping ladies, headlining for Bare Naked Ladies.
I'll show you. It's not as bad as it sounds. But the Pope recently slapped a lady for like.
When I hear it not as bad as it sounds, all I just think is any like video with Mitt Romney ever. It's just like, is it though?
So he's greeting people at this like New Year celebration, and there's this lady who's super excited. She's like, she can't wait to meet the Pope, and
She's so ready.
and he's making his way towards her.
It's all the Hail Marys.
And he really doesn't like people like kissing his hand and stuff. Anyways, she like reaches out, and he
Oh, it wasn't that
he's
bad.
straight up no, but he's like, hey, stop, because she like reached out.
She did.
And held on too, and he was done doing his thing. She me too'd him, and he's like, hey, I'm not having that.
She me too'd him?
She me too'd him.
That was a very acceptable response to like, let the fuck go.
No, she did. Yeah, for sure. She's in the wrong. I would admit.
Yeah.
If you did that in the office, if your coworker's like, and you held that hand.
Can you imagine you do that like to a celebrity? Like you do
Right.
that to you do that to fucking I don't know,
The Rock?
Natalie Portman. Like a kick in the balls would be acceptable at that point. Just like fucking stop.
Well, I thought too. I mean, the cooler way to handle this would be he has his bodyguards with him. He should have just done the like, yeah, nice to meet you. Like do the look like, hey, who you go, like fucking tackle this lady. But like he actually freaked out and did that. But it was a fair. She was holding on for too long. But there's
Well, she
probably
pulls out a
cooler way.
knife or some shit.
You never know, man.
Get the fuck off.
The fact that the Pope is even talking to people. I mean, I don't know what the
it is part of his job.
That's part of his job. I don't know what his job is actually, but he wears dope outfits and talks to people. But
I still think it was funny. Like I went in for this thing and I was talking to this lady. I was stuck in a room with her for a while, and she was talking about it. I was like, well, it's not my Pope, and it's like, this ain't a fucking president. No. You don't get to say that. You're in this religion. This is the thing you believe. You're fucking stuck with it. You can't change those rules.
And does the Pope do anything that's that drastic or outrageous?
He can kind of like enforce things, and just like I think this Pope, like part of the reason people don't like him is he's more like pro science. He's pro a lot of things that historically Catholicism has not been. So yeah, he's kind of shaking things up, and people will be like, not my Pope. But again, in this religion, God picked him.
Yeah,
that was picked by God, not
There's
voted.
That black smoke that happens.
Yeah, you got the smoke, and so you don't get to say that. You can't say not my Pope. I don't.
Did you tell that lady
either
this?
that? Yeah, I should. I did not.
He said, no, yes, thank you, and you walk away. You just don't.
But it's either that or you're not the religion you claim you are. I think that's how that works.
I think so too. But hey.
But also if you eat shellfish, just say.
Or two different types of
A lot of other weird rules. When you have your period, do you bring a turtle to the
I mean, I do.
The whatchamacallit in your temple? I forget what the term is.
Is that a real?
That's a rule. That's shortly after thou shalt not lay with another man, as if you're on your period, or if you have your period, then bring a turtle to the whatchamacallit. You got to follow these weird rules right after each other.
Okay. All right.
You do.
That's why I don't know what's going on.
Never slap you the way the Pope does. I'll slap you much better. Much better.
As we talked about. Gavin, how are you doing?
I'm doing fucking fantastic. How about yourself?
Nice. Doing all right. Play any video games over the weekend?
Play jack shit. I got myself just like I set myself this massive list of chores to do this weekend. I'm like, I'm gonna knock them out. I'm gonna feel so good, and I did. I felt really great. And then I worked on the arcade game.
Oh right, you're talking about that,
which was good, and it's getting a little bit more. It's
Arcade-y?
a little bit more fun now that you can actually shoot the other person. But it'd be nice if I could kill the other person and just knock them around. But it is kind of funny when you shoot them and they like bounce off of like there's a small wall in a ceiling section, and when you shoot them and they like bounce between them, like it feels good.
Like the physics of their body just kind of keeps going, kind of thing, or
yeah, like almost like Smash Brothers-y.
Gotcha.
But
nice.
it was a lot of fun. How about yourself? You said no video games. What were you up to this
that's
weekend?
not technically true because I was able to finish Death Stranding.
That's right. You messaged me at 12. And
I
then
woke
continued.
you up from your sleep. I was like, hey, you got to hear.
No, I was working on the game.
Oh, yeah? Yeah, I finally finished Death Stranding, which at the final end screen, they show you how many times or how many hours you spent. So I spent a good 42 hours, which I've seen people spend longer, less time than that.
2 days of your life right there.
But yeah, it was not consecutive. But yeah, no, I had fun. Like I told you, it's a lot of mixed feelings. It's a lot of feelings to unpack. But I had fun playing the game. There was a time where, even though I'm going to talk a lot of shit about it, about how they handled specifically how they handled the story and the characters. That was my biggest beef with it. But the gameplay was awesome. Yeah. The loop was awesome. I found myself because it tells you towards the end, it's like, hey, the end point is coming. Like, do you want to do anything before that ends? And I found myself pushing that off as far as I could because I was having fun.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, that was me in fucking Fallout where I'm just like, oh, it's
Fallout 4?
Fallout 4, yeah. Ending can go fuck itself. I did like the ending though. So I mean, it's nice when you have a game like that.
Right.
And so you did have fun with the gameplay, which was a lot of people's biggest sticking point. Was the gameplay is not.
I wasn't sure how I was going to handle that because I remember reading that too because you're having to balance and it's like you're a postman simulator where you have to walk and traverse this terrain. And you have to balance it yourself. You have to deal with the weight that you have on physically, the terrain you're dealing with. You have to kind of plan out your route. And then at the same time, you have these crazy transdimensional monsters that you can't see that are will attack you to the point where you have to you lose all your stuff. You have to go redo it. Or you have humans that want to steal your stuff. It's a whole thing. But that was actually really, really fun. And it was just and I kept, Megan was around me. I kept yelling at my TV when there was some kind of weird, cheesy dialogue or there's so much cheesy fucking dialogue that it's kind of a bummer. But at the same time, there's a lot of thoughts in this wrapped up in this, right? But it's this double-edged sword where that's why the Kojima games are so cool because they're so weird. So you almost can't.
You wouldn't want to not weird,
right?
Kojima
and so, and I understand that, and I'm on board still. It's you can't penalize them for being so fucking weird when it gets weird. It's you're on the roller coaster, you got to experience it. The feelings I have are also similar to how I look at Kanye West. He's brilliant. He's made some of the best fucking music in this decade or in this timeline.
But don't forget, he's remaking it.
What do you mean remaking it?
I think he's remaking some of his earlier albums in a more Christian manner.
Oh, I haven't heard that. Fuck. See, that's the other dichotomy. It's he goes the other direction.
Be so bad.
He can be insane. He is insane at the same time. So that with that creativity, you get this bonkers fucking person.
Yeah.
With Kojima, it's not the same, but his game is like that. His games are like that, where it's they're the Kanye West of games, where they're so uniquely different and creative, but also with the dialogue and the choices, it goes off the deep end. And I'm just what the fuck am I playing? Why'd they make these decisions? Why is this guy called, Heartman or fucking Mow the Lawn Man or just all these literal terms? It bugs me. But everything else is so great about the game. It's a really, really good game. So I still recommend playing it. If you ever catch it on, it's on PC. I don't know how you're going to run this on PC because it's a pretty
If I ever had a PlayStation, that would be with the backlog of games I haven't played, that would be the literal last game I would ever play. God of War, all the Uncharted's,
I still highly recommend it though. It's something about one of the things is I'm gonna go hard in the paint on Death Stranding, right? So one of the things is the respecting the fact that when they announced this game, this is maybe 4 years ago they started announcing the game. They had the engine with Guerrilla Games, right? They're able to use their Decima engine, I want to say it's called, and they're able to create this crazy realized world that's almost photorealistic with these crazy performances with the cast. And in a short amount of time, they're able to create a AAA caliber game with a new studio. Kojima Productions is a new studio. I don't know who he got to, steal from Konami when he left.
Most of his old team.
I would imagine so, because they're able to just not skip a beat.
These are some AAA talent that have been doing it for years. So gotcha. New studio, but
right, new studio, who dis, but not really.
Yeah.
But that makes sense because they were able to relatively quickly, produce something that's still.
No, that was fucking fast for a game that you're gonna spend 48 hours in, 42 hours in, that. Ooh.
And it's a new
I spent
property.
Less time in Outer Wilds.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, I think I beat that in probably maybe 24.
Yeah, I feel like that was a game too where you could choose to spend longer or not. I don't know.
But I chose to spend as long as I could. I
Gotcha.
completed every quest I could, and it was maybe over 24. Like,
yeah.
this is that's how talented his team is. That's how good the tools are. I'll be really curious to see what else is made with that Guerrilla Games engine. That being said, I have a feeling it's one of those engines it's meant to make an open world game, I think. This is just a guess, though. I've never played with it. I've never touched it. It could completely not be that at all.
Yeah.
But the fact that it made 2 ginormous open world games work so perfectly, I bet it's mainly geared for that. So if you're trying to make like a Tetris attack with it, you could.
That could be rough. Yeah.
You shouldn't.
Although it's gonna be like this photorealistic,
right.
or, really trippy Tetris game. But
yeah,
no, I mean with that engine, I want to say that's the same engine, just improved upon, that got them at least the newer Killzone, that released with the PS4, that Killzone Horizon, I want to say it was called. So I want to say it's that same engine, because they wouldn't like develop a new one just for Horizon. So it's like they're using that same engine, which they've done first person stuff on.
I would like to look that up. It may actually be a new engine.
It's possible. The keyboard's so far away, so I have to.
But I mean, like, clearly that team is talented as shit. Killzone, like, remember when Killzone 2 had to come out and try to look like the trailer?
Yeah.
And yeah, it didn't look like the trailer, but it still looks stupid gorgeous.
I would love to revisit that whole story, because that was nuts for them to really put their dick on the table and say, hey, we're going to make this game. And everyone's like, that's obviously 100% CG cutscene.
Right.
And like, yeah, it's going to look like that. And it pretty much looked as like, just like you said, as close as possible with like console hardware. And they're able to nail it. And then Killzone 3 looked awesome too.
Killzone 3 still like blows my mind how pretty that game looked. And it was just one sequel later, but it looked so much better than 2, which 2 shouldn't have been possible. And then 3 was just stupid pretty. That team absolutely knows what the fuck they're doing when it comes to tech. They're engine people.
I think so. I think they've paired the engine aspect of it with the creativity, with creating these. I mean, they created Horizon, which is a new property, and it's basically on board to be this next like flagship, Sony thing. That's the thing with Death Stranding. So there's at any point you can go into first person mode and like kind of view the area and keep playing the game. Basically,
you just can't tell when you're off balance.
You can't, no, but a game will kind of like shove you out of it. But you can always go into that first person mode, and everything's still, all the textures are super high fidelity. So it's like I can see the flexibleness of that engine when you're able to go back and forth.
And that's one of the tricky things too, is the first person textures have to be ultra high res, which.
But then how do you tell the system to not make it so high res when you're obviously third person? Like you don't need it. So how do you like
mip mapping?
Okay, is that's a term or that's a thing?
Mip mapping, LOD. You're not going to worry about as much LOD.
That's level of detail, right? Yes. Like as you get closer. Okay.
There's certainly, I don't know how many people are using it, but you can use tessellation and do a bit more stuff with LOD. A lot of people just use pop-in, which honestly works fine. Like we don't like pop-in.
Pop-in is where you're walking around, you can see physically things coming
like Outer Wilds had it bad because I have my settings so low, but like literally bushes would be growing as I like get closer.
Gotcha.
But I feel like at this point we're so used to pop-in.
Sure, but I
don't even see it.
Does that mean that we should be okay with it?
No,
right?
Absolutely not. Especially with the next gen consoles, pop-in has to be dead. My PC won't be able to handle these games, but pop-in needs to be dead.
I think that's what they're kind of describing as the future. I didn't experience that with Death Stranding. There wasn't any technical issues. As detailed and beautiful as the world is, and it's all loaded once you're there, like there wasn't anything popping in or weird physics. It all like beautifully ran. I was actually like super surprised with the speed they're able to create this with. It's a new engine, new property. One thing I found really cool was some of those bonkers cutscenes that they released or trailers they released years ago. Mm-hmm. Those are in the game fully realized, where like that's just a level that they then use. Mm-hmm. So they had this planned out from the beginning, even though this seemed like there was never like an actual end goal. They had these scenes planned, which are part of the game. So I don't know when Kojima actually started working on this thing. Maybe it was always in his back pocket, and then he decided to like go full force when Metal Gear fell through.
I could see that. I think he's probably one of those guys that just has so many ideas going on. And he's just writing them down, and just one day he'll get to them. But at the same point, he was with Konami. You got to keep pumping out those Metal Gears,
right? That or Pachinko.
And I'm sure he loved making Metal Gear. Yeah. Like that game's so fucking weird.
Oh yeah, especially that last one. But there's a lot of bleed over with the concepts in this one with the Metal Gear franchise, or at least that with Metal Gear 5, with how you develop your loadout, how you tackle the levels and the replayability within the levels. No, I really dug it. It's just, for me, the biggest bummer or why it hurt so bad with that ending and the story stuff was because I loved everything else so much.
Right.
And there's a lot of just cheesiness, and I don't know if he's the only guy responsible for the story or for the dialogue, and maybe have someone help, or have somebody to branch stuff off and throw back things back and forth. But that would be a Kojima game, so I don't know. I'm very back and forth with it, but I still had a lot of fun with it.
I'd be curious to know what you think. I heard from reviews that the bosses are super pushovers. What did you think of the
I played
bosses?
on there was a difficulty level. I set it on the regular, and I was able to play it just fine. There are, as far as the bosses go, they're pretty much like standard. You can tell that there was like a kind of a 3 beat where you kind of nail them three times.
Stages.
Yeah, with the damage.
Whatever you want to call
There was right. No, I think they handled that well. It was more was to be expected with the whole the way you tackle a boss. There's one boss level in particular. I can't wait till you either give in and watch the ending fights or play the ending game.
I don't care enough.
But,
I don't care enough.
There's one ending where it's one aspect of the final boss battles where it's literally a fucking boss battle, and it's kind of hilarious how on the nose they go with it. You'll have to watch it, but or experience it. It's kind of hilarious, funny, also just too breaking the fourth wall for me, but it's all wrapped up in one, and it's just they did it.
There's a health bar in the sky, clearly.
I'm not gonna say any more, Gavin, but I think you're on the right track there. Yeah, but that's it's a lot of feelings, but I still had fun. Am I ready day one for the next Kojima game? 100%. I'm just there's a lot of mixed feelings with this game.
I think his last two end product, it definitely shows to me how much of a not Kojima, because while I like the Metal Gear games, I've never felt compelled to play them. I'll happily watch someone play them.
Sure.
I think they're super interesting and the stories are off the fucking rails.
Yeah.
But PT, and I know people love PT. I hated PT. When
we
played that,
yeah.
I was not having a good time. And as much as I hate I didn't even hate it because it was scary.
No, because we were on board to get scared. We knew that going in that it was going to be scary.
Or we should have played that one game. What's the one with gives people PTSD?
Gives people PTSD.
God, it's super scary. And anyway,
Slenderman, I think I had that one ready to go, but
Slenderman actually probably would have been fun because I only kind of know how it works. I know you don't want to look behind you if he is behind you or something like that. I played Five Nights at Freddy's. I played Five Nights at Freddy's on my phone once.
Oh, really?
Which is hilarious because every time the monster goes to kill you, my phone will lock up. So it'll be the thing will start jumping, it'll start to make a noise, and then it'll lock up, and I'm like, when's it gonna unfreeze? Yeah, I forgot where I was going with that.
Just with with PT or with
PT I didn't really like, and from what I've seen in this game, I don't think I'd like it either. So I'm a bit nervous. I don't know if Kojima's ever gonna make something that's my jam unless he hooks up with Suda51 and they make something that's so batshit bonkers.
Wow, that's a great pairing.
I love Suda51's weird. I think his weird gels with me a little bit better. I love Killer 7? Killer 7. And it was weird, and I love the thing with Killer 7 too is the back of the player's guide, it explains all the symbolism, and there's so much shit I never... some of these cars... color changes from blue to red partway through the story, and that symbolizes something. This changed to this. Somebody is meeting with somebody instead of somebody. I'm like,
oh,
what the actual fuck?
Gotcha.
So that guy has my number, or even the not Travis Touchdown, but the No More Heroes games.
Yeah.
Are just they're just wacky.
Yep.
You get those two together, it's gonna be dynamite mixed with fireworks,
or they could never work together because they're so opinionated, or
I could see that
creative.
I could totally see that. They're both I'm sure both of them are super strong headed and want their weird ass game the way they want their weird ass game.
Yep.
Could be fun.
Yeah, but no, just got to finally finish that, and that's really been it for the Vigi games.
Nice. I may have played a little bit of Hades.
I
still want to know, that was one thing. You were talking about textures. I'd love to know what... Hades is so zoomed out. I'd love to know how bad it looks zoomed in, because it looks so gorgeous. It looks flawless. You can't see any polygons.
Yeah.
Just flawlessly pulls off that art
Switch
style.
or
PC.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it looks
I think that was a Switch
flawless. But I just want to zoom in and see how bad.
You know, do you ever watch the Boundary Break series on YouTube?
No, I've seen a few of them.
They're fucking great. So they did one on Jedi Fallen Order recently where they are able to, just take the camera around by however means they do it.
No clue. I mean, it's hacking.
It's hacking.
They're clearly hacking
Yeah,
it.
but there's like sometimes with the PS3 games they have to like develop. People have to develop certain hacks to do it. It's like it's nuts. But they did one on the Jedi Fallen Order, and they showed like zooming out way too much, like way more than you expect is fully like rendered in that game, where like they zoom super far out in these levels of which are massive, and there's like crazy detail. It's almost like you could cut it to help the game run better, but it's still there, and
I'm sure that artist feels super validated.
Yeah,
when it zooms out,
right? Because they finally get to see the thing he worked on. But there is an instance where they show one of the like NPCs you're never really supposed to be able to look at, and he's just like this polygonal fucking nightmare thing, and but which is standard apparently.
Well, isn't it sort of like they did that with like Master Chief, I think in Halo 1 or 2, where in a scene he pulls off his helmet, so they pull it around and there was nothing there.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Otherwise, that would ruin the illusions, Michael. My illusions.
I like that drop, Kevin. Well, we had some news, not a whole lot, Gavin. News.
I think we'll get some more news at CES. I don't know how much gaming.
There's another game related news article from CES, which I find interesting. I'll show you that one too.
Yeah.
But some of the big,
I like the Xbox stuff.
I think a lot of us overhyped the possibility of some of the CES hardware stuff, but yeah, so I think we're kind of realizing that. But so CES 2020.
Well, I mean, it's all hardware. It's the Consumer Electronics Show. We're getting great hardware, just not gaming necessarily.
Right. Or there's like little bit of reveals on the chips and stuff. There's stuff there, the deals are making with whatever companies. But so we have the Xbox Series X. They're the first one to kind of show something at the CES that happened. It started today, I want to say, CES 2020. So I pulled up the article from Matt Kim. So this is Xbox Series X info revealed at CES 2020. I wrote this in update, not really, just because of what unfolds. But Matt Kim of IGN writes, during the AMD keynote, the company revealed a version of the Xbox Series X that features 6 ports, not including the power port. If the design is final, the Xbox Series X could have 2 HDMI ports, 2 USB-C ports, an Ethernet port, and an optical out. There will also be a USB Type-A port in the front of the console. This was pretty nuts because this was showing us some kind of there was a flip around schematic GIF thing showing you the back of the console. Apparently this wasn't legit. So this is from AMD's
it
press
wasn't
conference.
legit.
It wasn't legit.
Oh.
So here's the update from Microsoft. So in an email to IGN, AMD has clarified that the visual render of the Xbox Series X, from AMD. The visual render of the Xbox Series X is not an official model from Microsoft. Instead, the company sourced it from a third-party modeling website. Here's a full statement below. Just reiterating, that's from turbosquid.com is the one who made the render. I find that strange, but so here's the actual render here. It's showing a GIF, and it shows the back. And you see the different ports on the back, the 2 HDMIs, the USB 3, all that stuff. I'm not sure why they decided to. Is this because they just had an outside group make the model based on what they know? Or is it
could be
based on what they don't know? Yeah, it seems
they're
like
just making random holes in the back or whatever.
That seems irresponsible to show random holes. I feel like they have to be based on knowledge that they know.
I am surprised that it just does look so much like a PC, like in the back. I didn't realize the back was going to be smooth like that.
Right.
I think it's a slick looking console, honestly. Like I still hate on it a little bit, but it does look pretty slick. I think USB 3 or USB-C or whatever seems pretty reasonable.
Maybe the consoles now are going to be charged that way.
2 HDMI outs is a little bit strange. Like I could almost see that being a good idea for example, competitive gaming. A lot of fighting games, what they'll use is they'll have one output and it'll go into a splitter, and you'll have one splitter go to one screen and one on the other, so they're not gaming next to each other. They're gaming on the opposite sides of each other. And I think the third one goes to like a capture source or like, whoever the commentators are or whatever. Like you'll split it multiple ways that way. So that would eliminate some of that, but still you don't have the third.
How do you feel about if this is legitimate or based on reality? How do you feel about the 2 HDMI ports? Is that just...
That's what I was just talking about.
Oh, okay. I thought you said it's USB-C or something like that. So
well, I mentioned that first, but yeah,
Gotcha.
the HDMI, that's what I was like. So this eliminates some of that need, but I'd almost rather have 3. Are you going to allow for dual monitor setups?
That's
What's
what I
kind of the point? I mean, that could be really cool if you could have 2 different, like, rather than, 2 8K or 1 8K TV, if you could have 2 1080p TVs, you got 2 kids playing Fortnite, 2 different things going on.
Everything.
It'd be super easy to do, I think.
If this thing is powerful enough, you could just make every game split screen like that. Or also, I'm wondering if the two HDMIs is that just carried over from the original Xbox One X, because it had the two HDMIs. Mine does as well, but it's for two different, like a TV input. So like for your cable box, that's currently like mine has that now, but it's for one HDMI out and then one HDMI in for collecting whatever kind of TV.
Yeah, it could be that. I forget about that.
It does have that, but so does that mean that they're carrying over the basic idea with the motherboard and then just kind of changing the design, or it's also two HDMI outs, and you could do the two split screen monitors, you could do other stuff.
It's probably what you were saying. I forgot about that. I just forgot. I bet it's what you say.
I wonder, because can they create this like 12 teraflop machine, which is what this is to be rumored to be, but still use the same motherboard as the launch Xbox One? Like, it seems like that
would quite
be right. So if you're
gonna
gonna
be something modified, they definitely need a more powerful power supply. It need to be a different shape.
Gotcha. Right. True. Yeah, because it's almost like cut in half, because it's now, or like bend it around. Apparently, if this schematic is true, once again, there's no power brick, so it's included in the actual system, which would add to the size of it.
That surprises me. But, well, actually, no, it doesn't. I don't know what I'm talking about.
You can keep fucking a can of Monster Energy drink in there. There's so much space.
Well,
it would be hot, but...
I mean, there is a bit of space because you need a certain amount of room for air to move.
Yeah,
and that's the idea. Need a lot of air to move.
Right, and if the back is as smooth as the front is, then there's really no vent besides the top one and the bottom sucking in the air, releasing it outwards.
Still makes me nervous about the bottom vent.
Yeah, apparently you can still lay it sideways, but that seems like it's really intended to be like a tower, like just upright.
I did see a lot of, so it came out about the whole, like the chip, the CPU or the GPU or whatever says 8K, and I went into the comment section and everyone was just so fucking down on it. And I get it, because it's like, the Xbox One X, like, it says, like, this is supposed to be a 4K gaming thing, but it's still running at 30 on most. 30 frames per second. That's what people would rather have a good frame rate than this stupid high resolution, or give us both and shut the fuck up. But, like, so that's the big worry is, and also 4K is still not the standard. It's the goal,
right?
But when we got to the Xbox 360, you're like, 1080p, like that was the fucking standard. Yeah. So this is.
I would agree with that. I think it's just advertising. They're really trying to future-proof this thing as an 8K machine, but it's like not really obtainable. And the focus should more be on 1080p 60 frame, or I guess if you're gonna do 30 frame, 4K kind of stuff.
I do like that 4K TVs are finally reasonable, because I was at Walmart the other day. I was just shopping, and I remember because we wanted to get a 4K TV for the goddamn this sticky table. You set your hand right in it. There was, for some reason, at the front of Walmart, there was a bunch of 4K TVs, and like you could get a nice one for $300. Like that's what you can get, like a solid
inch.
It's not as big as yours, but like it's still pretty fucking big. So they've really come down in price. You can get a good one for $150, which blows my mind. I'm not gonna get it, but you can get it.
The technology is now obtainable. Like that's always the weight with this kind of stuff. But now it's here, and I think they're pairing that. The consoles always kind of, they don't future-proof too much. Like they want to be whatever like the realistic thing is within the industry, like what kind of TV you can buy with it, like the HD TVs with the Xbox 360 and that kind of thing. So it seems fair to finally pair with 4K, because you can actually buy a 4K TV.
Yeah.
Here's some of the other footage that they showed from that 3D render that was apparently not legit, but it's just more footage on the controller itself, showing the USB port in the front. But so that's the whole debate. Is this render that AMD had done from a third party, is this based on what they already know, or is this them going, hey, here's what it might look like? That seems less likely if they're partnered with Microsoft in the first place. But that was so we're still on the topic of CES. That was the big thing out of the gate as far as the console news goes. And then what was big or really pushed and kind of boasted was possibly PlayStation revealing something with the PS5. After their whole keynote, they talked about the sales, which is actually pretty cool. They showed some news on the PS5, and it was the logo that they revealed.
Well, they had a few other things like haptic trigger feedback, which is neat.
I want to say they already talked about that, though.
They may have. I liked the leaked image. There was a dev kit, and they showed the controller, which I like the look of the controller. It kind of reminds me of the Switch Pro controller, which I still think, to me, the Switch Pro controller is the most comfortable controller out right now. It's not the most technologically advanced. The Wii, God, that looks terrible.
That is not it.
Like I think the Xbox, One or whatever, I think has better. It has way better rumble. I think certain things like the sticks are a little better and the triggers are a little bit better,
Yeah.
but still I like the feel of that Switch Pro controller, and that it has
So here's the actual.
that fatter bottom bit.
It's a fatter controller. I think that's a good direction. It's getting more towards that 360.
Fat
Xbox
controllers
One
are
stuff.
just nice. Like, don't go back to original Xbox, but give us a little.
Although I'm not mad at it. If you go that direction,
I'm mad at it. I hated that controller.
I actually dug it. I got
So
the one
bad.
of the not the launch consoles, but like I was like maybe the next year where
Yeah.
I bought the Xbox One original, and I had that crazy Duke controller, and I just got used to it eventually.
I forget what is the name of that controller.
Duke.
It was the Duke.
Mhm.
Fuck.
I named my first child the Duke.
Oh my god. Yeah, that controller looks nice. I think that
Yeah.
looks comfy.
hmm I like the slight tweaks. You don't have to like go out of the because now they've got both. Each console has its own like they've got it where it needs to be. It's just kind of modifying some quality of life stuff that need to adjust. But
And the slight tweaks are nice because you just learn a few things. But I'm still angry to this day that Microsoft spent $1 billion redesigning from the Xbox 360 to the Xbox One controller.
really, it's the same fucking control.
It's the same fucking controller. Do you not remember that? Like they said that at a press conference, and I'm like,
Jeez.
I hate it.
I would not boast
$1
about
billion.
that. Yeah.
You spent $1 billion to travel around the world and be like, you know what? My hometown was the nicest, best place to be. I'm gonna keep on living here.
That's
Go
basically
fuck yourself.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
man.
you're right. It's just the Xbox thick controller is all it is.
Xbox 3.
But so after all that, they're like, here's the PS5 official logo, and it's the exact fucking logo we would imagine seeing in in the first place. So
Yeah, it was a dumb
Great.
reveal. I
Thank
liked
you for that.
Devolver Digital did a 180-degree turn on it, and they're like, and it makes SSD. Like,
okay,
we
on the
think
actual
they're
logo?
hinting that it will have an SSD.
But they've said that.
Yeah, I know.
I see. Fucking Devolver.
Yeah.
But a lot of this is also us just so thirsty for fucking next gen news that we're putting all this stuff that they never announced at these trade shows.
I don't think it's thirsty. I don't give a fuck about the PlayStation 5, but why didn't they show it today? They're at a bit of a loss here. I think you can give people some cookie crumbs.
You could.
You can give them a bit of something. They gave us why?
They gave us nothing. They gave us the logo. Hey, take it easy. You got the logo there.
We've had more interesting stuff leak about this. Like, remember the
Right.
Spider-Man leak when they were just zipping through the level?
Oh, with the
that was a
showing
leak.
off the
That was
SSD.
never official. It was cool as shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the new Xbox can do that still, but still cool as shit.
Yeah, no, I would. I guess they're holding it close to the chest with the reveals. So I think the reason why a lot of people put a lot of faith on this CES reveal for PS5 was the fact that when they initially launched the PS4, it was in a February event where they launched it. Although they had their own special event in New York where they brought in the press, like, hey, we're going to announce the next thing. Come on by. This is time-wise close, so that I guess everyone was thinking, hey, this might be the way they did the Game Awards with Microsoft. But apparently that's obviously not what happened. There's still time for Sony to have their own event that they just announced out of the blue. So who knows, when they decide to announce it. But this is the year. So we're getting kind of closer. If they want to launch holiday, we need to start advertising this thing. So as we get closer,
Got 12 months. Give us.
Yeah.
I thought.
I mean, there's
thought
still
it was
E3
dumb.
if they
thought it
still
was
want to
dumb.
follow E3 model.
E3's in what, 6-7 months?
It is. It's in June, so I think it's a good 6 months away. And then you have your holiday like 3
Guys.
months after that. So
You got to get the ball. As little as I care about the new Xbox, I'm still a little bit excited.
everyone's excited or curious.
I'm not
right?
gonna buy it, but I'm a little bit excited.
No, that's 99% of us. We want to see how it unfolds.
That
but
thing's gonna make me have to buy a brand new computer to keep up.
yeah.
Still a little bit excited.
Well, I wonder. That's a lot of the debate is how much is the Xbox One Series 1 or whatever
Yeah.
the fuck gonna cost compared to all these different console releases? Is it worthwhile to just jump onto the new Xbox or reconfigure your PC?
I mean, it's gonna cost more to reconfigure my PC, but my PC is gonna have games that look better for longer
That's true.
than that will.
That's
But
always
it's-
an issue
It's
with
still gonna
consoles.
cost so much fucking money.
Right.
I'm gonna have to redo my motherboard needs updated, my power supply, everything. It's all gotta. I'm not even sure I can keep my case.
Dang.
It's all gotta go.
Okay, well, I'll take it if it's falling off the truck. I'll
Alienware.
take it from you.
What
Yeah,
do we got
so
here?
here's the next bit of
They've
news
done
from
this
CES.
multiple times. What are you doing,
Well,
Alienware?
I'll lay it out for
Maybe
you.
I'm thinking of Razer. I think I'm thinking of Razer.
There is a NVIDIA Shield, I think, is possibly
yeah,
what.
or NVIDIA Shield.
So this is the latest news from CES on top of the console stuff. Alienware reveals hybrid portable concept that looks and sounds awfully familiar, and it's to the Switch. This is from Games Radar. Jordan Gerblick writes, Alienware debuted a new concept for a hybrid portable PC that features detachable controllers on the sides and the...
Oh, they are detachable.
Yes, and I'll
Are
show
they
you a
at
video.
least comfy?
I don't know. I can test. They're comfy. And the ability to connect to TVs and monitors. Sound familiar? Of course it does, because Nintendo came out with something awfully similar almost 3 years ago, Nintendo Switch. So this is a image from Games Radar. There's actually a Verge hands-on video from theverge.com, which I'm going to show you right now.
It's kind of neat.
It is. I wonder if they're just trying to not eat the Switch's lunch, but like fill some kind of compatible...
They can share its lunch, honestly.
Right? So here's the video from...
All those
Verge.
sticks stick way the fuck out.
They do. This one seems less portable and more on like a higher end version of the Switch, but they haven't talked about the actual hardware behind this thing. So this is just showing off at CES.
I mean, even with my Switch, I don't care about portability. I'm not playing it on a train or anything like that. I just like that, I can go like hang out in my room and play it or whatever.
Right.
Like,
It's like mini
in-house
portability. Yeah.
is nice.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, you're sick, just hang out.
It has detachable controllers similar to the Switch, or just like the Switch.
What
But I
are
guess
they playing there?
so at the demo event, they're showing off Rocket League, not Mario Kart, but Mortal Kombat 11, and then there's another title they're showing off too.
I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Hardware wise, it looks awesome. It looks dope.
I think it looks cool. I think that can totally exist and coexist with the Switch.
Yeah.
Man, can you imagine if Microsoft introduced their own kind of thingy as well? I'm sure that's way more powerful than the Switch right there.
I would imagine so. They haven't talked about battery life though. That's the next thing too. It's like, do you walk out your front door and it dies or something?
Yeah.
Or
And it can just play, and it's not necessarily. I mean, while it's a console, it's not. I feel like they're probably not treating it like a console so much as like this can just play PC games.
yeah,
And so you can try out your PC game. Will it work? Will it not? They're not going to be restricted like you would a Switch. You
to that
could
ecosystem.
Yeah, like maybe people will put out reviews like, "Hey, it works well on the fuck is this
Right.
called again? The Alienware Switch, right?"
Yeah,
So people, oh my god,
They
it
even copied
literally
that.
has the.
the mobile like port for your
Oof.
controllers. Yeah,
That's that nail is all the way in the wall because they hit it right on the head.
yeah.
But I ain't mad at it. I'm
No.
really not.
No, I mean I think you're right with the ability of you have a huge
That is
Steam
a
library.
Fucking kickstand.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Wow, I haven't seen that. The entire back is a
The
kickstand.
entire back. I mean, that's better than the Switch kickstand.
Oh yeah, that thing breaks if you sneeze on it. Like it's very delicate.
I mean, see, and here's the most important part: the charger is on the fucking top, so
Right,
you can
I
have it
hate
in
that.
kickstand on an airplane. Charge it.
Or if you're in bed, like I've done that before, where it's like you have to debate.
What a stupid fucking thing they did with the Switch on that one.
Yeah.
You know what? It's a really dumb thing. This is such a dumb thing.
Mhm.
I like the little light rings around the sticks.
Those are cool, right?
It's
It's not good for your battery, but those are
No.
dope.
honestly, it's probably fine for your battery. Like those
Mm.
little LEDs, they're gonna use jack.
Or like
shit.
one controller's lit up at one point. I
Yeah.
don't know if you can control that or decide on that, but yeah, no, it's interesting. And this isn't just a concept. Like they're going forward with this, but there's not as much information on, say, the pricing or the hardware or the battery life on this thing yet.
Yeah.
But they've been revealing this at CES recently.
I'd love to know how comfortable those controllers are, because that's probably my biggest gripe with the Switch is I fucking hate those controllers.
You're right, and I think with the design, they definitely went with this like an angled kind of polygon shape at the
Yeah.
edges, so it really does kind of it's more ergonomic. It seems like compared to the Switch with the way they angled straight down.
I'm gonna guess it right now, $600 or $700.
That's tough to go beyond 600 if that's what they end up doing, because I feel like I might as well just have a PC that I'm going to play all these titles on. But for the mobility of it, then I guess that's what you pay for. But yeah, 500, 600 isn't that crazy. I imagine the screen, it looks pretty high def as far as like the visuals on it. Yeah, so that's just been, I'm sure we'll see more about it. Did they actually give a name for this thing? It's a new concept for a hybrid portable PC.
It's just a concept. That's cool.
Yeah.
You know what? I dig it.
Right?
I hope it comes out.
Yeah, so here's more on the Verge's take on it. So the prototype I got to try out, this is Chaim Gartenberg. The prototype I got to try out was surprisingly functional with working demos of a variety of games, including Rocket League, F1 2019, and Mortal Kombat 11. Obviously, they're not the best graphics ever seen for any of these games, but gameplay was smooth and lag-free and looked far better than comparable ports on the Switch.
There you go.
So it may be like a Switch Plus kind of competing with that kind of thing, if there is a Switch Plus down the line, or Switch Pro down the line.
I think that has a market.
Right?
It's not me, but I think that validly has a market.
Yeah, no, I would agree. And the stickler thing is going to be the price. You know how they handle that. But
it's
yeah,
great for like a plane ride though.
Come on, man. And if you could just jack in on the plane right there, then it's like
you
don't have to worry about battery life.
Snap jacking when I'm on a plane. That's all.
Well, it's illegal to do that.
With or without this thing.
Here's another article or news story, Gavin. I thought you'd find this interesting. This is news on a Portal prequel that was just never realized.
Canceled, yeah.
It was a canceled game. So this is Valve's canceled Portal prequel revealed for the first time. This is Chris Priceman of IGN.com. I'll show you the actual video here. Valve's canceled prequel to its hit 2007 puzzle game Portal has been revealed properly for the first time thanks to indie developer Lunch House Software. The original code for Aperture Camera, Valve's canceled prequel to Portal, has been provided to Lunch House Software in order to help them create a video series about its development. The series is called Exposure, reveals and discusses the core game mechanics of the Lost prequel, which was based upon photography.
Aperture Camera.
So I like that.
This makes me think of that tweet of that one cool indie game.
I'll show you that too. I think they're related. As far as like they have been gaining popularity like recently right around each other.
I still don't know how they're going to make that other game you showed me into a game.
That seems like more of a concept. Like he talks more in the tweets about it, but yeah, I think you're right.
It's a very cool concept.
Right. So here's the actual, this is episode 1 in a series of episodes, which I would implore everyone to go check out. So it's from Exposure by Lunch House Software is the name of the series. So they actually tackle some of these early code, demos of the game to where I'll let you check this out, Gavin. So you're walking around, taking a picture, and then that becomes just a movable, scalable object then.
Cool.
But it looks like you select the image, not like one for one take a picture of it. You select the image with the camera, and then you're able to scale it and move it around.
So we have, shitty Gary's mod? I don't... I mean, neat. Definitely neat. Oh,
I guess it shows like where were they.
Yes.
I think so.
Do it. This is shitty Gary's mod. We've done it.
Maybe that's why they kind of abandoned it. But I guess they're kind of testing around concepts, right?
I've played a 2D side-scrolling indie game like this. And it was,
really?
Pretty
I
neat.
dig this. They took a picture of the heating the fan, and that actually the properties carry over.
That was a powerful ceiling fan. It's neat. Right? I can see why it didn't go anywhere. I think they developed a nice little thing, and
you can maybe implement that into something else, but not build a game around it.
And this is why you prototype games. You make something,
you
test it out, you find out it's not fun, and you abandon it.
Yeah,
great example.
I think I like the Valve I'm commending them because they kind of traditionally don't talk about stuff that doesn't go anywhere. So I like that they're actually revealing some of the information about this willingly to this group here. So here's the actual game we're talking about that's related to this. It's kind of taking that concept and running with it completely. So this is from Matt Stark. So it's made with Unity. It's a concept where you're still taking a Polaroid of a scene and then copying that scene over. And some of the physics even apply when you copy that scene too. So I'm going to replay this video here. It's from his Twitter page. So
I don't even know how you'd start to do this.
Yeah. He writes, the effect can now handle collisions in multiple photos. So you take a picture, and then it's almost like a Rorschach thing where you can now walk into that scene. And
you mean Rorschach? I don't think you mean Rorschach.
No,
you mean
MC Escher or MC Escher.
Was it Escher? Yeah, I think it was Escher. The weird
Missy
stairs
Elliott,
and shit.
Yeah.
Missy Elliott. Absolutely.
Like the physics carries over. It's pretty nuts. So in some of the other
like
tweets,
the perspective.
Yep.
It's so weird.
He breaks down in some of the other tweets that it's almost more of an effect. Like you can't interact with some of the more complicated scenes. It just kind of distorts it and creates the illusion that that's now part of the world. The picture that you just took.
I don't even know. How's that even?
But now you have free range to manipulate the picture, but once you set it, it just becomes part of the thing. But I guess that's more of an illusion.
That it punches out the background. That's an illusion?
Or as far as like you can't jump in there and like start messing with
I thought
stuff.
he did jump in one of
That's
them.
what he
Didn't he
described.
like turn one sideways and like fall down the hole?
You're right. That's what he described in one of the other ones. So here's this disclaimer. Just a couple of disclaimers. The effect is purely visual and the player can't physically interact with it. I might try to fix this in the future, but it would probably be really difficult. The effect can only handle one photo at a time. This might have been improved upon.
He is doing some trickery.
So you're right. So that was on November 11th. The picture or the video we just watched with him actually jumping into the scene was January 3rd. So maybe he is making some strides, actually, making improvements on this idea.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he may have done a trick that's...
And this is with Unity. I don't know if it's any easier or what the deal is. What witchcraft is going on.
It's interactable. No idea. I have not a clue, especially when he's like cutting circles in half.
Hats off. He's at MattStark256 to check him out and keep following along. But yeah, I thought that was nuts when I found that online. I was like, oh God. We need you fighting ISIS or making cancer discoveries. Like, you got to use that brain for other stuff.
Nope.
This, Gavin, I found interesting. So it's an ultra-realistic breakfast that someone made in dreams. That's really the long and short of it. Behold this ultra-realistic breakfast made in dreams. This is of Julia Lee of Polygon. Media Molecules Dreams, a PlayStation 4 game creation system that allows you to make your own experiences, is known for people making some unique games using the platform. It's now been proven that you can use it to make a delicious but inedible breakfast.
Who wrote that?
This is of Julia Lee of Polygon.
Okay.
Not Sarah Lee, Polygon. Media Molecule Senior Principal Designer John Beach has put together a beautiful breakfast called the Full Beach Breakfast. And I'm going to pull the actual image here.
But does it look as good as the food in Monster Hunter? That is the question. Or that Final Fantasy game where all the food...
Okay. I haven't seen that.
Oh, my God.
The what's related to Dreams recently today, they announced that the game went gold. So they're on track for their February 14, 2020 release.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Gavin, I got to find this picture. Here we go, from Polygon. So this is somehow created in Dreams. This is the actual rendered image. The lighting, the texture, like it's all on fucking point. So there's an actual video to kind of show off just what's going on. So that little guy jumping around is your manipulating tool in Dreams. And so he's able to jump around. His shadow affects everything.
So to answer my question from earlier, does it look like as good as Monster Hunter or that Final Fantasy game? Yes, it looks exactly as good. The hell.
Now this is, I imagine, using the entire hardware to render just this portion, but it's still pretty nuts that you can do that.
What?
Right? There's no video that I can find of him actually building it, or maybe you can download that level and then pick it apart.
Oh, this took forever, I'm sure, but
yeah,
this game is so... I don't even...
Right?
I do wonder if like those reflections on the eggs are real, or if they're more like he kind of painted on so it only looks correct from a certain angle.
Yeah, I wonder, and I would imagine that's what's going on, because I haven't seen any other game create this level of photorealism. So I think he's just hand painting these reflections up, which is still no like small task at all. It shows how awesome that engine is. And they basically create a game. It's a legitimate engine. That's what they created with this.
Oh, it's definitely an engine,
right?
That's
different renders and pictures from it, but it's dope.
What the fuck?
I want to eat all this. Got some beans in there. I'm not a big sunny side up egg fan. What do you think about that?
When you dip your toast in it, it's kind of nice.
Megan's all about that. I see it and I hate it, and I'm angry that I don't like it. I just like scrambled traditional eggs.
Yeah,
I'm an American. Scrambled my eggs.
I'll do the sunny side, dip in some toast in it. Here's the thing: I never trust myself to make it. If someone else makes it for me, I will trust that yolk is cooked enough. But if I do it, like I'll get a tummy ache later, and it's all psychological, and I know it. But I can't
as you're eating it, you're like,
it.
oh no, is it starting to happen? Yeah.
I'm catching the polio or whatever it is you get from eggs.
You get your blanket and you're willing yourself out there.
I'm becoming the president.
Yeah.
It was a lateral move, but...
yeah, Gavin, so we're kind of running out the stories here. Silent Hill 2 art director Masahiro Ito says he's working on a new title as the core member. I don't know if you're a big Silent Hill fan. I know you love the scary games, but... this one was interesting because it's a really core member touting a possible return to that franchise.
Cool. Art director. All right.
So this is Hope Corrigan of IGN writes.
But he has no. That's the thing. So he's the art director. So he's gonna have no oversight over the design of the game.
Apparently not. I think he had more hands-on with the later games, and so
Oh.
she writes about this. So Hope Corrigan writes from IGN. Motohiro Ito, one of the artists behind the Silent Hill games, is working on a new project. He shared the news in a tweet revealing that he's a core member on some mysterious title, which he hopes won't get canceled. Masahiro follows up that tweet
I think
stating,
a lot of people in game dev hope that.
yeah, well, especially like Silent Hill, there's that Kojima,
Yeah.
reiteration of it. He shared the news in a tweet revealing that he's a core member on some mysterious title, which he hopes won't get canceled. Masahiro follows up that tweet stating that he can't reveal yet anything about the project at hand. The quote from him on Twitter is, "I'm working on a title as a core member. I hope the title won't be canceled." Masahiro Ito worked on the original 1999 Silent Hill as a monster and background designer and went on to become art director for Silent Hill 2 and 3. One of the more recent games he worked on was Metal Gear Survive as a creature designer in 2018. So maybe just kind of tying into or reading into his news that he's working on this new title and hoping that it's Silent Hill 2 or another Silent Hill game.
You could go like kind of your own direction. Like we don't have that. Well, that's not true. We have a lot of new horror games.
There is an influx of those, and there's a lot of them in the indie space that I've been kind of reading about too that are just like super.
God, some of those are so weird.
I think the more
watched
indie
one
you get,
about slapping spaghetti.
what now?
You're trying to heat up your spaghetti by slapping it, and
Is this like Alone at Night? You're watching this
it's
video?
so funny. It's so fucking.
It's a scary
funny.
game.
Well, I watched this. So there's a streamer I love watching by the name of I think this is who I watched. Swag Dracula.
Slap spaghetti? Slap your
Yeah.
needle?
This is it. It's so weird.
This is from Funhouse.
I think you need a
What's
little
the
bit of
actual-
audio, but you keep it down low.
Gotcha.
But yeah, you gotta slap this.
What's scary about this though?
Well, there's like things trying to kill you.
While you're slapping it?
Yeah, you gotta keep it warm. You can see the heat gauge in the top left. So there's like
Oh,
sort of like a
God.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
But with spaghetti slapping,
I never
and it's amazing.
I never would have thought that would be an interesting idea. Yeah. So does the light kind of start to tunnel in? Because you
I
start
don't
with like a
know.
lit room and then it gets, or you have your flashlight on your.
I haven't watched
Forehead?
enough of this.
Gotcha.
I'm sure like because you have like R.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to hit the, so I'm sure that matters, but you got all this stuff to pay attention to. It's just such a bizarre concept. You got to look at other stuff. You got to
gotta
hide.
hide.
Audio cues are a big thing. Trying not to look at stuff is a big thing.
It's a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's influence. Is there a game before that kind of really influences Five Nights, or did that kind of kickstart a lot of these like concepts of staying in one place and you have to manipulate stuff?
I don't know. I definitely, from my perspective, I feel like Five Nights at Freddy's was the first one of that kind
Just
of
to popularize it.
genre, which is always still impressive to me because they made it in an engine that I'm shocked. I think it was ClickTeam Fusion, or maybe it was ClickTeam Fusion, or no, I think it was what's the other one?
Not game makers or anything like
There's
that.
something very similar to ClickTeam Fusion. I think it was made by some of the same core members, and so it's definitely one where I'm like, oh shit, they made that and that. That's pretty nuts. So
Gotcha. Well, Gavin, that was it for the news of the week. I have 3 indie games I wanted to show you to get your take on them.
okay,
It's been a little while since we've shown you some indie games.
Enzies.
So one of them, the first one rather, is the game Elsie.
Elsie.
This is from Night Shift Games. I'm gonna play the audio here. Already the music's on point, but this is a gameplay demo.
So currently looking Contra AF,
Mm-hmm.
which is fine. Oh,
With this like, I don't know, 90s, almost like Sonic kind of like color
Yeah.
scheme, or
but it's super pretty.
very pretty.
Yeah, it's old school as shit. Like an old friend.
So at least the beginning of this. Yeah, you mentioned a weird Yoshi's Island, like a Neo something
Yeah.
Yoshi's Island. So the cloth physics are nuts to me.
Right.
With the fire going on, it looks like it's really burning in real time.
I bet it is.
So Cyberhook is the game that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
It looks nuts.
Okay.
It's like a Matrix Fever Dream 80s thing going on. I remember playing like a lot of SSX Tricky.
Yeah.
Like 1080 snowboarding or just Tony Hawk. Like, I'm on board. This looks fucking awesome.
All right, next one.
We got-
Laser, and I love the spelling.
Actually, so here we
Skipping
go.
Laser from Top Hat Studios.
Please only talk like that.
Studios.
Yeah, Laser from Top Hat Studios, Garrett Campsey. Here's a trailer on their Steam page. It's another one where the music is exactly on point.
I mean, that menu select was dope as shit. Reminds me of like a neo retro Yoshi's Island. Yeah, I hate the video player on Steam.
Is that just? I was wondering if that's me or that's.
No.
Whoa.
See, climbing up a rope.
Problem.
I always have issues with it.
So this is that. Oh geez, I'm gonna let this load a little bit here.
It's not gonna make it work any better.
Okay. I watched it fine before you got here. I don't know what the deal is with this, but
Too much porn.
yeah, I don't like to close the windows. I like to keep the porn going, just so
You want to know what's there when you get done.
yeah. Man,
Just give up. Yeah, just give up. Yeah, it looks cool as shit.
You can pet a cat.
Pet a cat. And then, he threw a ball. I thought he stomped on the cat for a second.
God.
Like, the fuck? I like the vibe.
Right. The movement, again, is like on point.
Yeah.
The shooting. That cloth stuff. I could just climb around the cloth all day.
Right. I worry about trying to fight against those enemies. It seemed like a lot of guys just pouring bullets down. Like, how are you going to not get hurt too bad? Yeah, it looks fun.
It's got a 2020 release.
He's got the
date
emo
on that
haircut
one.
going on with the bangs
I
down
always
and the
approve.
pink hair.
If he's wearing a My Chemical Romance shirt at the same time, dude, you got to sell there.
Fonzie, you married an emo girl? Your art supply costs would be through the roof. Cyber Hook.
Here's the last one. This one is really fucking dope. Yeah.
Looks like a student prototype.
Well, let's see.
You gotta stop watching these fucking Steam trailers, dude.
Well,
You
that's the page that I pulled up.
doing yourself in.
That's where the gameplay was, though, because some of these don't have like legit trailers. Okay, Cyberhook does. Okay, here's the.
Well, I
announcement
think they
trailer.
had to host these trailers on YouTube. I
Oh.
believe. I like the finger gun. Finger gun's pretty good.
I see this and I desire. Oh, it'd be cool in VR, but this would not be good in VR, right? Where you
No.
just because
I'd-
emotion is key to
Well,
this.
I'd throw up.
Right.
I bet this is fun as hell.
It looks really dope.
Nice.
It looks like you're slowing down time to kind of make sense of it. That makes sense.
I love the left hand. The left hand is very expressive. Like, it's doing finger motions and like neat little things. Yeah, it's probably gonna be fun as hell. Yeah, I think my only complaint is like art-wise, it's almost a little too simple, and it definitely gives me student project vibes. But yeah, that looks fun as shit.
I mean, this is the theme though. Like they're going for this like '80s kind of poster, come to life
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
I want to see people speedrun that.
Okay,
Oh,
so this game is
Slope
Slope Crashers. This is from developer Byte Parrot, and I just want to get your take on it. Once again, the music's on point. So it's a snowboarding, skateboarding kind of like downhill slope thing, but you're animals.
Kind of reminds me of Snowboard Kids, which I would love to make a comeback. It even has the presence
Yeah,
out on the course like Snowboard Kids did.
I like the little little parachute you can use. You're a penguin.
Yeah.
You're a chicken.
It's
can do
got
the tricks.
non-snowy environments like
Yep.
Snowboard Kids.
Yep.
Like this, this is Snowboard Kids, and I'm on board with it because that game is great. You know, there was a great game that I don't think very many people ever played. There was an SSX game that came out for.
It's like the reboot one that was recent.
It came out for the Nintendo Wii.
Oh,
And you controlled it with the nunchuck with the stick, but you also had a little bit of motion control.
okay.
With the nunchuck, and that combination
It wasn't terrible.
was so perfect.
Wow.
It felt much more like you were snowboarding. It was much more. It was both intuitive. It felt very natural, and it just felt good.
I feel like the way to pair those is subtle. Like, if you
Yeah.
can just slightly maneuver, but if it's only like that, then it gets off the rails. But that's a good idea.
It's kind of like how people with you're a squid now, you're a kid now. What was that game called?
Squid Kid Fighters.
Squid Quinats.
Squid Cannots. Yeah, Ink Dabble. What's the
is what they're called in Squidward.
Squid Ink.
Anyway, that game, there was that whole you have your stick to aim, but you can still do a little bit of motion controls, and people really like that.
Oh, okay.
I even did that in I think Killzone 1 or 2 with the sniper, and you could get that last little.
With the controller itself.
Yeah, it felt really good. So
that's dope. So yeah, some games to watch coming up in the next year or so. That's all I have for you this week, Kevin.
I'm digging it. That's man, we're about to head into a couple of months of just games after games. I'm gonna have to get I may have to get a next gen console at this rate.
It's a hard life we live, Gavin, because all these games
right before the new one comes out too. Like we'll see if I can't get one at somebody's. Kid was being bad that week, so they sold it at their yard sale.
Yep. In front of him too. Yeah, they have to watch you like.
This is what you get for looking at the ladies in the underwears in the magazines that come in the mail. It was Fred Myers. It was fine.
I don't know what scenario this is, but what Twisted Fantasy? All right, Gavin, where can they find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at DrunkDevs.
Nice. You can find us on Twitter as well, Plastic Hard Pod. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. I always forget.